Have you ever really stopped to think about how a simple colored light gets millions of people to hit the brakes? I mean, it's not magic, right? It's all part of this hidden system of meaning. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that system. We'll explore some really powerful ideas about how simple signs, like a traffic light, pretty much shape our entire world.
Okay, so just look at this thing. On the surface, it's just a traffic light, right? 3 circles of color and a boring old box. But we all know it's so much more than that. This little object literally controls the flow of entire cities. It prevents total chaos on our streets, and it gives out these incredibly powerful commands without ever making a sound.
And that's the real mystery, isn't it? How in the world does a splash of red light become this universal, undeniable command to stop? I mean, think about it. There's no natural law for this. This isn't physics. It's something else entirely. It's all about a system, a kind of silent agreement we all have. And to really get it, we've got to take it apart piece by piece.
All right, so the secret here starts with the most basic building block of, well, all communication, the sign. But here's the twist. A sign isn't just one thing. It's actually a relationship, a connection between two different parts that, when you bring them together, poof, you get meaning.
So a couple of linguists, Richards and Ogden, came up with a really helpful way to see this. Let's try it. If I say the word apple, that's the symbol. Simple enough. Now, the actual physical fruit that you can pick up and bite into, that's what they call the referent. And what about that picture of a shiny, crisp apple that just popped into your brain? That's the reference, the mental idea. The sign itself is how all three of those things are connected.
And what's super interesting is that other thinkers were basically climbing the same mountain, just from a different side. You see Louis Hjelmslev here, for instance. He used different words. He said expression for the word or shape and content for the meaning. But he was getting at the exact same core idea. It's this fundamental link between a form and a concept.
Okay, but what if we want to go deeper? What if we want to understand not just what a sign is, but what it actually does out there in the world? Well, for that, we need to bring in the American philosopher Charles Sanders Peirce. He gave us this absolutely brilliant 3-part system for breaking down how signs really work. So, Peirce said we need to look at signs on 3 different levels: the syntactic, the semantic, and the pragmatic. I know they sound a little academic, but stick with me. This framework is basically our roadmap to unlocking the traffic light's true power. Let's break them down, one by one.
First up, we've got the syntactic level. Now, this is all about how signs relate to each other within a system. Think about it. A red light all by itself is kind of meaningless, right? Its real power comes from the fact that it's not yellow and it's not green. It gets its meaning from its relationship to the other lights. It's just like words in a sentence. The word plays only makes sense because it's sitting between John and tennis.
Okay, next up is the semantic level. This one's probably the one you're most familiar with. It's the straightforward, direct link between the sign and the thing it represents. So at this level, red simply means stop. Green means go. That's it. You can basically think of this as the sign's dictionary definition.
And finally, we get to the pragmatic level. And honestly, this is where the real magic happens. This is all about the effect the sign has on people. It's the relationship between the sign and the actual behavior it produces. So when a driver sees that red light and their foot hits the brake pedal, that action, that real-world result, is the pragmatic power of the sign in action.
So, there you have it. We've gone from a single light to this whole 3-level system of meaning. But now, let's zoom out, because this gets so much bigger. These same rules, these same systems, they don't just apply to traffic lights, they are the very things that shape our language, our symbols, really our entire culture.
That Danish linguist we met earlier, Hjelmslev, he argued that an entire language is its own self-contained system. He saw how the expression, the word itself, and the content, the idea behind it, are basically locked together. And what that means is huge. It means language isn't just a tool for pointing at stuff that's already out there. No, it's the very structure we use to organize our thoughts about the world in the first place.
And you know what? This idea had massive ripple effects. It spread way beyond just linguistics. Sociologists like Émile Durkheim jumped on it, arguing that you absolutely can't separate language from its social and cultural context. And then you had guys like the structuralist, Claude Lévi-Strauss, who took these exact same principles and used them to find hidden patterns in, well, everything, from ancient myths to the rules of how families work.
Okay, so what's the big deal? Why does any of this matter? Well, because it pulls back the curtain on the secret structure of meaning itself.
It tells us that meaning isn't just out there in the world, like some treasure waiting to be found. Nope. It's something we build. It's something we create together through these complex systems.
So, if you're going to take anything away from this, let it be these key ideas. First, meaning isn't universal. It's created inside a specific language, which makes every language its own unique way of organizing the world. For instance, did you know some languages don't have separate words for blue and green? They use one word to cover both. It's not that they can't see the difference. It's that their language carves up the rainbow differently. And this idea just completely blows up the old way of thinking about direct translation or, just memorizing a list of vocabulary words to learn a language. It tells us you have to understand the whole system.
And this quote, I think, just nails it perfectly. Language is a system in which each element gains meaning solely through its relationship with others. So, at the end of the day, it's not about the individual pieces, the single words or signs. It's all about the connections, the differences, and the invisible structure that holds the whole thing together.
So I'm going to leave you with a final thought to chew on. If meaning isn't really in the words themselves, but in the entire system they belong to, what does that really mean for something like translation? How can we ever be truly sure we're carrying the meaning over from one system to another without losing something vital along the way? It's a huge, fascinating puzzle, and it all starts with something as simple as a colored light.